Hey, what's up you guys? It's McKenna, and today I'm going to be sharing my October TBR. It's honestly insane that it's already October, but I'm really excited because I'm really excited to read. Just as a disclaimer, I don't think I'm going to get to every single one of these books, but I'm going to try my hardest. And most of these are sci-fi, fantasy, spooky books, so I have a feeling that this is what I'm going to be wanting to be reaching for anyways. There is a couple of books that I have to read for classes, and the rest are just books that I want to read. So let's jump into it. So the first three books are books that I know I'm going to read because I have to read them for a class. I'm taking a young adult literature class. Actually, I think it's a young adolescent literature class that I'm really enjoying. So there's a lot of reading. Luckily, the reading that I am required to do is books that more than likely I would have read anyways, so it's really exciting. So the first book that I have to read for this class is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I don't know much about this book other than it is set in an elevator and it's written in verse. My little brother read it. He's in middle school and he said he loved it. So I don't think this is one I would necessarily pick up on my own. I have heard really good things about it, but I am excited to read it, even though it is a required reading, which I normally hate, but I'm excited to pick this one up. So the next book that I have to read, I should say, is The Similars by Rebecca Hanover. This is set at the elite Darkwood Academy, where there is 6 new students that are joining this fall. But these aren't just regular students. These are exact DNA replicas of current students. Emily Chance wants nothing to do with these DNA replicas as she's dealing with the death of her best friend that happened that summer. That is until she comes face to face with a DNA duplicate of Oliver, her dead best friend. I'm really excited to pick this one up. I actually saw it at Barnes & Noble this summer before I even knew I had to read it, and I was tempted to buy it and I didn't, and I kind of kicked myself the whole time, and now I had to buy it so I could read it for a class. So I'm really excited to read this one. I think it's kind of like a dystopian type of feel, so I'm really excited. The next book that I get to read for this class is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is based in 1926 in New York City, where Evie O'Neill has been exiled to live with her Uncle Will. And she is terrified that he is going to find out about her supernatural powers that so far have only caused trouble. I'm not a big sci-fi fantasy fan. But I'm trying to get myself to read more, and this one is very appealing to me because it's based in the 20s, first off, and in New York. Those are my two favorite things. So I've also watched Read by Zoe. She talks about The Diviners, and she said she really liked it, and everything she's liked or recommended I've liked. So I'm gonna give it a try. We'll see. Hopefully I like it so I can finish out the whole series, but if not, it's okay. It'll be an experience. These next 4 books kind of have a theme. I think in October we read spooky, scary things, and to me there's nothing more spooky or scary than reading about serial killers, which I have a weird, I guess it's fascinating to me to learn about how they think and why they do what they do. So these first 3 books are one of the serial killers in particular that I am very interested in is Ted Bundy. So I have these books that I bought actually quite a while ago. It's probably been 2 or 3 years and I just haven't picked them up yet. But they're all by Kevin M. Sullivan. So the first one is The Bundy Murders. This is a comprehensive history. So this goes through lots of evidence and the timeline of when all of his when he committed all of these crimes. I know there's pictures in it. They go through each place. I'm from Utah, and so they talk deeply about what happened here in Utah, and so I've looked through the pictures, but I haven't sat down and read it, so I think probably now is a good time to sit down and read it. Next book is The Bundy Secrets, Hidden Files on America's Worst Serial Killer, and I think, yeah, so this is unpublished documents and evidence in all of his cases, so this is really exciting. And then I actually think this is the last book in the trilogy. The next, and then I think book number 2 is The Trail of Ted Bundy, digging up the untold stories. So this is accounts from victims that got away, his friends, family. So I think these ones are very fascinating. I find Ted Bundy very fascinating, and so spooky, scary to me serial killers. Next book is also about serial killers. It is I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells. Dan Wells, I found out I bought this a while ago, but Dan Wells is from the town I grew up in here in Utah, so that's exciting. This one is about John Wayne Cleaver, and I can't help but think that this is an homage to John Wayne Gacy, who is the killer clown, another serial killer, but John Wayne is obsessed with serial killers, and he does not want to become one. So he creates rules for himself that he has to follow. I don't know much more than that, but that to me is fascinating, that even in a work of fiction, somebody would have to create rules for themselves to not become a serial killer. So I'm really excited. This is one that I really, really want to get to because I think that is so cool. Last group of books are books that I just want to read because I don't want to read them. I think they're all going to be pretty quick reads, so I'm hoping to get through all of these. The first book is The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman. Again, I shouldn't say don't like. I'm not a big fan of fantasy sci-fi books. I don't reach for those, and I've been trying my hardest to kind of put myself out there. I read a lot of romance and historical fiction, so I'm trying to like broaden my reading habits. I don't know much about this other than I think it's a Romeo Juliet story in I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure about it, but I do know that it sounded like something I would read. It's like a forbidden love story, and so hopefully I like it. Hopefully it kind of helps me reach out. If you guys have read it, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear some reviews about it. So the next book that I'm going to try to read is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I read Coraline this summer and I loved Coraline, but this is about Nobody Owens, who is a normal boy, except he lives in a graveyard and is being raised by ghosts. And if nobody leaves the graveyard, he is in danger of the man who has already killed all of his family. And I find that fascinating. It sounds spooky, but I think Neil Gaiman has a way of describing things and creating these worlds that I think this one is going to be really good. And I can't believe I haven't read it already, but I am correcting it now and I'm going to read it. So these next few books I'm really excited about because these are short little books that I read when I was young, probably in 5th grade is when I read these, and I remember them being so scary when I was a kid that I'm hoping they live up to that scare factor. after now that I'm an adult. They probably will because I get scared easily. But the first book is Wait Till Helen Comes by Mary Downing Hahn. This is about Molly and her brother Michael, who don't like their stepsister. I can't remember her name. Heather. And Heather pretty much makes their life miserable, and they move into an old church, and Heather starts warning Michael and Molly about Helen. And again, I don't really remember what goes on, but Heather keeps waiting, wait till Helen comes. And Molly thinks Heather's lost her mind until Helen comes. This one I remember, I read it because my best friend at the time read it, and she goes, "McKenna, you have to read it." And I read it and it gave me nightmares. So hopefully it lives up to its spooky factor. Hopefully. My fingers are crossed because I mean, it probably will still scare me, but I remember it giving me nightmares when I was a kid, so hopefully I wasn't just a scaredy cat then. So the next one is Claudia and the Phantom Phone Call. This is the second book in the Babysitters Club series. This just happens to be the spooky Babysitter Club book that gave me nightmares when I was a kid. And it just happened, I just happened to read the first one, not really thinking about it, and then I was like, oh, it's almost October, perfect time to read the second one. This book is, there's, they create the Babysitters Club books. There is a series of burglars, so they talk about how they're going to handle it if somebody comes and breaks in while they're babysitting. And then Claudia has phantom phone calls. I remember having to read this during the day when I was a kid, and I remember reading it at night one day, and I couldn't go to sleep because I was so scared somebody was going to break into my house. So I don't think it'll make me feel that way anymore, but I love the Babysitter Club books. I read the first one probably a couple weeks ago, and there's actually a podcast, and if I remember I'll link it down below, of two guys. One of them had read the Babysitter Club books when he was younger, and one had never read them, and they're going through and reading it, and then they have a podcast episode about every book. And when I listened to the first one, I was cracking up. They're hysterical. So I can't remember what it's called, but I will leave a link down below. So I'm really enjoying. Can't wait to go through and read all of these again because I loved them as a kid. So the next one, I know I was in 5th grade this time. It was the same best friend who told me to read Wait Till Helen Comes, told me to read this book. And this book gave me nightmares for weeks. Honestly, weeks. And I was so scared. The other night I was laying in bed, and I don't know why I thought of this book, but I thought of this book, and it literally gave me nightmares thinking about it. So it's good. It's Skeleton Man. This is actually the first and the second, The Legend of Skeleton Man, by Joseph Bruchac. The first one, Skeleton Man, is about Molly, whose father grew up in a Mohawk reserve where they had a urban legend about the Skeleton Man who ate all of his own flesh because he had a craving for human flesh, and then went around and ate everybody's flesh, which Molly doesn't believe until her parents go missing. It is terrifying. Like I said, I hope this really lives up to the hype, because as a 21-year-old adult, the other night just thinking about it gave me nightmares, and I was like, I gotta go buy this so I can read it because I don't want to think I'm just a wuss. So hopefully this lives up to the scariness it was when I was in 5th grade. Right. So we're down to the last 3. I know this was a lot. But the next one is The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury. I was at Barnes & Noble picking up The Skeleton Man and I saw this, and I didn't know Ray Bradbury first off wrote kids books. I only know him as writing Fahrenheit 451. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, gotta grab that. I don't really know what it's about. It's about, I think, trick-or-treaters. While they're trick-or-treating, one of their friends gets kidnapped or something. Something whisks their friend Pip away, and only one man can help the boys find him. I love Ray Bradbury, so hopefully this is good, and it's Halloween, so I couldn't pass it up when I was in the mood for spooky things. And the last two are not by the same author, but they kind of go hand in hand. The first one is The Cabin by Natasha Preston. So I bought this one a long time ago, and I have read her other ones, The Cellar and Awake, and I know she has like probably 3 that have been released since I read those. I bought all 3 of the ones I have at the same time from Target. I don't know, I think this is high schoolers go partying out in the cabin and something goes wrong. She started on Wattpad, I think, but Awake and The Cellar were both bizarre, and I remember like getting weird dreams from them. So I figured if I'm going to pick up a spooky book, now is the time. It's October. Let's get it all out of the way. And this one kind of goes hand in hand. This is Truly Madly Deadly by Hannah Jane. They go hand in hand because when I was reading Natasha Preston, this was when Target had a really good book section. I picked up Natasha Preston and Hannah Jane's other book, Twisted, at the same time. And Twisted is about a girl whose father is a serial killer. Going back to the serial killer theme. So I think this one's about a car accident, and they think somebody did it on purpose because somebody is in a car accident and he had done something to her. But I really like Twisted, so this definitely sounds like something I would like. It's mystery, and the good thing is like I know I can get through these ones really fast. They're pretty short, and I work at a job where I sit at a desk all day and I get to read, so hopefully I get through all of these books. This was the last one, but that's it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below if you have any more spooky book recommendations for me. I'm always on the lookout for a good scare. Social medias will be linked down below. Don't forget to follow, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!